Somebody tell me someone who has taken care of you. Who has taken care of you? Do what? Your husband has taken care of you. Wonderful. Who? Oh, parents. Okay, mom. They didn't say dad. They said mom. So there may be some truth to that. Okay. And how have they taken care of you? Gotcha.
And so my uncle, being the man that he is, he stepped up and took on that role. I trade him and my mama as the ones that raised me.
Wonderful. Somebody else. Who will take care of you in your olden days?
Nobody. I want to be alone.
Nobody? You want to be alone? Just a little cottage and you by yourself, huh? Yes, she said. Say that again. Your dogs are going to take care of them. Gotcha. Gotcha. The nursing home is going to take care of you. Okay. Yeah.
His sister Penny.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's the family caretaker. And does a phenomenal job at it.
I'm already old and my wife takes care of me.
Does she take care of you? Does she give classes? Okay, good deal. Roxy, let her know when you're available. Jesus is going to take care of us. Good. We'll talk about that in a second. Do what? Your girls are going to take... My boys, one of them will unplug my life support to charge their phone. It's not, they ain't gonna no more. I don't think their wives will either. I don't know that that's gonna happen in our older age. How many of you have been caregivers for someone that was going through a hard time? Dawn, your mama? All right. Several of y'all. Is it parents that you took care of? Gotcha. Helen?
We took care of my mom and dad, but I also took care of a great aunt-in-law. She never had any children, and I took care of her before she died, probably 20 years. Checking and making sure she had everything. And then her sister in Oklahoma, I used to go up there about 3 times a year and spend a week each time with her and do what she needed to be done. She didn't have any children either.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Is there more than one definition to a caregiver?
It could be. Okay. And you are, absolutely, you are a caregiver. I agree. All right. Who would give us a testimony of how it was rough being a caregiver? It is. My grandmother, my mother's mother, the strongest Christian influence that I've known. I am who I am today because of the prayers of my grandparents. And my grandmother developed Alzheimer's. And I remember walking into St. Francis Hospital, and I sat down next to her, and I said, "Mama, do you know who I am?" And she said, "Yeah, you're one of Rand's boys," which Rand was her brother, so that would have put me to be her nephew. And I said, "No." I said, "Mama, I'm your grandson." And she just looked at me with this blank stare, and I smiled, and I said, "Mama, I bet you the conversations you and God have are clear as a bell." And she started crying because God doesn't do confusion. That's so the conversations they have are just as like I'm talking to y'all. There's not God sitting back going, well, I can't talk to that person because I got to talk. No, that don't work in God's realm. But it did, and she could not come out with what she really wanted to say, Now, Roxy has taken care of her parents and wonderful lady, Miss Betty Bush, that was in Hurricane Katrina that landed at St. Francis, and Roxy was in the chaplain's office there at the time and met her, and Roxy ended up becoming her caregiver until she passed away. And a wonderful opportunity that we got to learn about that lady. Somebody else. Is it easy for a caregiver? Until you've been there, do you really know what they're going through? No, and so often it is harder on caregivers, especially. We have no comprehension of what that feels like. All right, Mr. Daniel, let's start us out. Karen requested this one. She sent me a message and said, Brother Waylon, will you do? I've taught this one about 3 years ago, but I revived it a little bit and brought it back because the story of it is very good. How many of you know this hymn? No one ever cared for me like Jesus. All right, about 3 or 4 of you. We'll learn it here in a little bit. Now, Joe, you said that. You said that Jesus is going to take care of you. What is that going to look like? What does that look like right now? Is he taking care of you right now? How is he doing that? You're here. You woke up this morning, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah, I was watching, y'all, TV is a mess these days, but I was watching this college student that was arguing abortions, and the gentleman that was debating her, he asked the question, he said, at what point is a child able, how do you see a child and they can be aborted until when? And this college student said until they can take care of themselves. I wanted to come through that phone and throat punch that woman so bad. I'm sitting there thinking, really? Until they can, and he lit her up. He said, okay, a child that's born cannot feed themselves, cannot take care of themselves until, sometimes, and one guy said, until they can talk. And I'm like, really? So he said, okay, well, what about students who are, not students, but, people that are born who have a disability and they can't talk? And the young man said, yes, they had every right to kill that individual. No. What a evil world and evil mindset that we have in people that would even think that, And you hear about those that are suing their parents because they didn't ask to be born. I wish I tried that on my mama. I would have gone to see Jesus real quick. Sure wouldn't. Those of y'all that knew my mom, no, instantly. You want to sing? Go, boom, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out. Yes.
When I was little, when the few times that I did pop off to my mama, what you just said was what she would tell me all the time.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I learned real quick growing up.
Our parents would have gone to jail, from what?
6 feet under, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have.
No. Yeah. Dawn, what was you going to say? Yeah. Yeah. Planes have been something the last couple of them. All right, so Charles Weigley wrote this. He was born in 1871 and died in 1966. He wrote over 1,000 songs. This one he wrote in 1932, and he grew up with a very violent temper. And I'll go into some more of that in just a little bit when we get to the rest of the story. He began playing the piano and organ at the age of 10, where he also learned to play the ukulele and the accordion. He started composing music when he was 17. He began to preach at the age of 22. I'll tell you a little bit more about his life in a little bit. The first verse said, "I'd love to tell you what I think of Jesus, since I found him a friend so strong and true. I would tell you how he changed my life completely. He did something no other friend could do." What is your definition of a friend? Relationship that's not one-sided. All right, so friendship is give and take both ways. It's not take. Have you ever had some friends like that? Yeah. Yes. Doesn't mean you don't give, but they take. What other characteristics? Loyalty. Okay. Do friends come and go? Statistically, they're saying that in your lifetime, you may have, on one hand, the people that were what we would consider BFF, or your best friend, that you had from a young age all the way through your life. Those people are very few. And then the other people coming in and out of your life for a season. They're there for a while and then they're gone for a while. And I probably can count on one hand the amount of best friends that I have, that I knew that if I picked up the phone today, tomorrow, they're going to be right there. And the majority of those are sitting in this room tonight. But there are also friends out there that I haven't talked to in months, but that doesn't mean we're not still friends. You know, we called, Roxy and I are leaving Friday, and we're going to go spend the day with Kenny and Locia Lloyd. And those of y'all that's been here a long time, they were members of here and became very good friends of ours. Left, went to and moved to several things. Anyway, they both retired, and they live in right outside of Slidell. So we're going Homer, yeah. So we're going to go there and spend Friday with them, and we always, when we get together, we always enjoy every moment of it. You know, we're cutting up and laughing and having a good time. But those friends, even though they're dear friends, you know, we see each other sporadically. You know, talk to each other on Facebook quite often, but you know, we see each other a little bit along the line. Kenny and Locia Lloyd. I pointed over there because they always sat right over there. But they live 3 houses down from us, and they had Matthew and Megan. And so Matthew and Brad was the same age. Megan and Corbin were close to the same age. And so you would know them to see them because they were here for a little while. So, all right. So I'd love to tell you of what I think of Jesus. Tell me, what do you think of Jesus? Somebody you can depend on, all right? Some of the same characteristics that we mentioned for a friend. What did somebody say? Very kind, okay? All right? Always there. Loving, yes. Never disappointed. Do you want a friend that tells you what you want to hear, or a friend that tells you the truth? Okay. We can consider Jesus to be that kind of friend, isn't he? He's not going to tell you what you want to hear. He's going to tell you the truth. And whatever he's telling you is what's best for you. When our friends tell us, you know, sometimes are they telling us what's best for us, or they're telling us because, you know, they want to make themselves better than someone else. So Yeah, Jesus is, there is no friend, no best friend, no husband, no wife, no child. There's no relationship that compares to the relationship we have with Jesus Christ. It is a very special, unique friendship. It is not the same, my relationship is not the same as yours. Knows us on our own intimate, complete details, individually, and not just, these are my children. No, that's my child, and knows us intimately. Second verse says, all my life was full of sin when Jesus found me. All my heart was full of misery and woe. Jesus placed his strong arms around me, and he led me in the way I ought to go. Somebody find Mark chapter 4. Mark chapter 4, verse 35 through 40. Danny, when I taught this several years ago, you gave your testimony. And you talked about where you could have been had not Jesus intervened. Remind us where you think you may be today if it had not been for Jesus. Mark 35 through 40. Were you into anything before you came to Christ? No, I'm talking about sins in your life, things, the path, the direction you were going. Yeah. And no matter what he was involved in, it ain't no different than mine and yours before Jesus came into our life. I tell this many times and people just don't grasp it. You could be sitting in the same room with a murderer that you have no clue. And, no matter the degree, Jesus' salvation is unique and available for each one of us. All right, Mark 4, 35 through 40. All right, so how does this tie together? Do you have storms in your life? Are there stormy days that happen to each one of us? Are we like these disciples who have spent every day with him, learning at his feet, listening to him, seeing his miracles, and they get here and they say, you don't care that we're going to drown? Are we like that sometimes? We spend years under the leadership. We spent years learning and studying. We will tell an open crowd that we have faith in Christ, but when a storm hits their life, one of the first things we say is, why is God doing this to me? Does he really care about me? And God sits here and he says, okay, I'm going to calm the storm. And eventually he is. The saying is that we're either in a valley, coming out of a valley, or headed to a valley. And so no matter where we are, we're going to be in a storm at some particular time. So is the storms that he has brought you through, have you used them to build your faith? Have they been faith builders in your life? And now you are more confident for the next storm because you saw how he did the other storm. Or do we sit back and go, here I am in another storm and he's not taking care of me? And I wonder, then how did you get to where you are if he didn't? If we didn't see him at work and we put our faith and trust in him, would any of us ever get out of the bed in the morning? Would we fall into a state of depression thinking, nobody loves me, nobody cares if I live or die? And, you go to the doctor, and I had my my monthly visit to my liver doctor today, and they always ask that question, Mr. Waylon, have you had any depression? And I'm going, what? No, I have 4 grandkids. No, things, you got illnesses, you got finance, you got things that'll go on in life, and you wonder, how am I going to make it through this storm? Well, it's the same way he made you through the other ones. It's just putting your faith and trust in him. Verse 3, every day he comes to me with new assurance. More and more I understand his word of love, but I'll never know just why he came to save me till someday I see his blessed face above. Lamentations 3, 22 and 23. Somebody find that in Hebrews 13:8. Lamentations 3, 22 and 23. Hebrews 13:8. When you find it, read it. Lamentations in the Old Testament. Hebrews 13:8, Lamentations 3, 22 and 23.
The Lord's loving kindness indeed never cease, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great
They're new when? Every morning. Hebrews 13:8. Can you take that to the bank, Mr. Danny? You can be assured, we can rest assured that he is the same yesterday and today and forever. And he is going to be faithful. He cannot do what he, in contradiction to his word. He will never do what is not written in his, and he promised that he would take care of us. All right, let's watch this video, Mr. Daniel. That passage is Isaiah 49:16. I've read it, but I never caught that our names are engraved in this palm of his hands. I never caught that until I was studying this, and that was a wow moment for me. The chorus says, let me get there. No one ever cared for me like Jesus. There's no other friend so kind as he. No one else could take the sin and darkness from me. Oh, how much he cared for me. Romans 5:8, we all know it, says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. But God demonstrates. It doesn't say, but God demonstrated. Okay, there's a difference. What does it mean if he demonstrated versus he demonstrates? That's it. One's in the past and one's continuing, is it not? Okay? And he does. He continues. When we come to Jesus Christ in saving faith, everything doesn't be perfect from that point on, does it? There are still things that we have to face in our life every day. He is still fighting those battles for us. He is still taking the sin and the darkness from us. He's still demonstrating his love for us every day and his care for each one of us, and that he is willing to continue to take care of us. Let me tell you about this man. This man that wrote this song, he recounts the story of a seriously injured where he seriously injured his older brother with a knife. This is the writer of the song. Knocking down one of the neighbor's boys with a bat. Attacking someone with a dinner bell so severely that the victim had to be hospitalized. His parents warned him many times about the consequences of his violent nature and outburst. He and some of his friends went to a revival, and as he tells his salvation story, he says that it was like him coming to a little church, but instead of a church, it was a courtroom where his sins were laid open before the judge. Confronted with the evidence, and he had little hope, he gave his heart and life to Christ. But his problems didn't end there. He was a minister, and at 22, he was in the ministry, and he, because of that, he was a traveling evangelist, and it took him away from his house quite often, leaving his wife and he had one daughter. One day he came home to find out his wife had decided to leave him because the strain of being a minister's wife was too much. Roxy and Dawn, don't you say a word. Being a minister was too much, and she no longer wanted to live the life of an evangelist's wife. And she took the daughter, and she wanted to indulge in a life of worldly pleasures. He fell into a deep depression. 3 years later, his wife sent the daughter to go tell him a message that she wanted to see him, and she died very shortly after that. And he was able to, go and speak to her. Very shortly after she passed away, he was sitting down at the piano, and he wrote this song while reflecting on his own state of depression and his own trials and things that he had gone through. And he wrote, "No one ever cared for me," in 20 minutes, and finished the complete song. What a testimony. And I hope it encourages you and I to realize that his care is not once and done. It is continuing. It is forever and forever and forever. Soldiers, people, firemen, policemen, they may give their life in order to save yours, but it's not the same as Jesus Christ giving his life. They can only help you for today. He's the one that can help you for eternity, and the only one that can. All right, let's listen to my favorite artist sing this hymn for us.